Okay. So we are starting now.
Can we start? Good morning, ladies and gents. And it is an absolute privilege to welcome you today to the University of Zululand, and specifically to a Women's Day event. When you welcome people in your house, it is a warm feeling. They belong. But I would like to recognize a few people first and to show who belongs in this meeting. I would like to start with the chair of our council, a woman. Then I would like to welcome the DVCs of the university, and I'm leaving the VC out for last. The DVC of our university, Professor Sihepi, then Professor Kunene, a female in terms of science, in research and innovation, Professor Nomlomo, the DVC for teaching and learning. I would like to welcome all the university executives, the members of management, the HODs, the university senate, the institutional forum people, all staff members, especially Unizulu women. And then I would like to welcome the Vice-Chancellor of our university, Professor Matosi. Now, as I said, when I welcome someone in your house, you are welcome. It's a warm feeling. And on top of that, we are celebrating today. So I welcome you all into my Unizulu. And because you are part of this community, it now becomes your Unizulu. And because we're all working together, and we all belong together, it is our Unizulu, a university where you belong. I would like to start a little bit in terms of this university and the Women's Day celebration with a quote from a very wise man. And although I know this quote off my heart, I'm going to read it because it's only fools that change the words of a wise man. I'm going to read you a quote that you all know from Nelson Mandela, where he says, quote, "Freedom cannot be achieved unless women have been emancipated from all forms of oppression. Our endeavors must be about the liberation of the woman, the emancipation of the man, and the liberty of the child," unquote. And that is our instruction. And if we want to honor this man, this is the words that we need to follow. Now, this brings us to this Women's Month and the theme of the Women's Month. The theme for the year 2021 is choose to challenge. What powerful words. Choose to challenge. When you challenge, you change. And when you change, you need to be extremely brave. You need to be convinced. You must be willing to take chances. And this is why we celebrate this woman and every woman in this country, every woman in our university. But I want to celebrate one particular person in this university. I want to celebrate the VC of our university, Professor Matosi, our change leader, the leader that is not scared to challenge, the leader that has chosen change and to challenge. Professor Matosi, we see you, we acknowledge you, we admire you, and we would like to go the whole route in terms of change, to help you, to support you, to challenge, and to celebrate the month of women. Ladies and gents, a short opening interlude will be played, and then I'm going to invite Professor Matosi to do her Women's Day message to the Unizulu staff, and also to introduce the guest speaker for an extremely interesting keynote address. So over to the interlude, and I hope everyone enjoys this day and celebrate with us at Unizulu. Thank you.
As we are celebrating Women's Month, there are many things to be grateful for. I'm grateful for the gift of life.
Last year I went to New York and I will never...
As we are celebrating Women's Month, there are many things.
Thanks, Mom.
As we are celebrating Women's Month, there are many things to be grateful for. I'm grateful for the gift of life.
Last year I went to New York and I will never forget
As my husband was infected, I have to be strong for me and my 4 kids. It takes a brave and courageous woman to take care of her family as well as her work at the same time. I pray to God to help me. It has been a year and a half God since this pandemic.
Master of Ceremony, Professor Khreili, thank you very much for your kindness and your kind words. Members of University Council, present online, executive members, some here. We're happy to have men that have joined us. Members of university management, deans of faculties, academic and support staff, students of the university, the Honorable Speaker of the Day, Dr. Mjoli, Molweni, good morning, Goeiemorgen, Sanbonan. May I ask those that are here that we stand and we observe a moment of silence for the loss of the university, for the people that have succumbed to COVID-19 in particular. And for this week, we have Advocate Muleti, who has passed on, who was in our ranks, and we have Mr. Gamede, who was buried on Tuesday, the 10th of August, and he was our previous chairperson of council. And these are the heroes that have succumbed to COVID-19, and to all families that have lost during this time. We wish them a time of recovery and a time of healing. May we pray. Father, we just want to thank you for who you are. Thank you that you are Jehovah who heals, Jehovah who touches the hearts of the lost, Jehovah who is close to the broken. And in the name of Jesus, we pray, Lord, O God, that you will rest the souls of our heroes that have fallen. You will bless this country, and you will protect us, Lord, O God, from this aggressive virus. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. May their soul rest in peace. Coming back to the party and steering myself to be in the party mode again, I have an immensely big pleasure in welcoming you to this week's Vice Chancellor Lecture Webinar Series. The series were conceptualized as part of the university's attempt to entrench the culture of intellectual and scholastic deliberations. University, by its nature, is a place of learning, both in class and outside the lecture rooms. University life also enables us to discover and define ourselves, but such lessons can only take you this far and no further. Life takes over after that. It defines whether you fail or you succeed. There are lessons at the university that will not teach you. This is where the Vice Chancellor's Public Lecture Series comes in. We trust that these lectures would help us to tease and explore those lessons of life that are necessary to succeed in life, however we define that success. The nature of engagement of this lecture or webinar series involves inviting individuals that have excelled in life in their various professional careers. This provides us, our guests, an opportunity to share their own stories and to impact, most importantly, their wisdom. The idea is to have the series to serve as springboards that allows us, in a free and supporting environment, to explore difficult and intractable ideas and concepts. As fate would have it, this Vice Chancellor's lecture comes at a time when we are celebrating August as a Women's Month. The very fact that we have got a Women's Month is in itself a reminder of how far we still have to achieve gender parity. It would seem to me that women are told that the only month you have in a year is August as your month. The rest of the year might remain that of men. In time, we may have to question whether our actions to do not risk the cementing the idea, whether we are grateful that men have at least given us a month in a year to celebrate ourselves and our achievements. This should be a subject for another deliberation. I hope 2022 then I will deliberate on this. Why August? This is a subject that Dr. Jolie explores in her book entitled Embracing Gender Diverse Leadership for Innovation in the 21st Century. In a preface of her book, Jolie writes, "The idea of writing this book came from my many years of struggling to understand why men with average leadership skills were able to advance to the top leadership positions in public and private sector organizations, while women with excellent leadership qualities were often overlooked." I close Dr. Jolie's quotation. If we were to learn what to do to our own success, I would suggest that possibly more than any other single factor, your mindset drives and determines your success at a workplace, in relationships, and life in general. What do you think and how do you execute what you think becomes a reality? Thinking smart, the ongoing conversation we have with ourselves, sets our mindset, which is the driving force behind every success story in business and beyond. Your mindset also determines how you deal with every failure and how you recover and hopefully benefit. Sometimes as women, we think a failure in your life is your grave. It is not. The how you respond and how you tell your mind and you become determined that you will deal with this failure and you will learn lessons from every failure in your life will determine how and where you end in life. The difference between you, who you are currently, and who you want to be, all originates from your mindset. Once you start to change your mindset, you will immediately start to change your behavior. To be successful and to accomplish great things, you have to be able to trust your intuition. And as women, we have got a gift from God of intuition. Trust it. Believe in yourself and what I like to call your superpowers within. Success is not something that just happens, but something you create and earn. You have to be confident to dismiss the negative and restrictive thoughts that hinder the progression of your success. Never give up on your aspirations, but let tough times motivate you to move forward. What do successful people do? They own their thinking. They have learned to silence the inner voice, or the very least own it, control it. No one will be positive every day, but they control how they respond to the negativity that happens or approaches their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, the above is, however, the subject of our discussion. Today we explore notion of leading a successful life. Our society places an emphasis on success, and ironically, it is where our educational system fails. We are taught many things, but being successful is not one of them. Some have suggested that it is what the university life provides. It is what we learn when formal schooling ends. That is, to me, the irony, that we only confront the real facts of life, and the issue of success is not something that is taught to us. And once we get into the world of work, that's the only time we have got to now position ourselves and think about success. If you can think, Prof. Reiling, of your days in high school, guess who were the people that were competing in the class? It was boys. And as women, we sat back as if these boys are supposed to lead us, and then we follow them. And that is what is happening in the real world of work, that women take time to warm up and understand that the whole world that surrounds us is about competition. The whole world is about success. The whole world is about putting yourself in the edge and taking a risk and jump with faith that you will succeed. And when you do fail, it is not something that should bury yourself or immerse yourself into and never rise. You need to rise and live again and say, what is it that I have learned from this failure of today? So I could find no simpler and more compelling description of formal education on the one hand, and the university of life on the other hand, that at a university we are given a taught, or we are taught a lesson, then given a test. Whereas in life, we are given the test that teaches us a lesson. Hence, your failures are part of your lessons. Without prescribing what is to be covered in today's lecture, the following questions seem paramount. 1, what does success entail? 2, why is success so elusive? Number 3, why have you not been as successful as you would like to be? Number 4, what are those detrimental habits that stands in our success? Number 5, how do I go about breaking the cycle of failure? Taking us through these questions is the subject of today's webinar by Dr. Mjoli, how our mindsets determine whether we fail or we succeed in life. Before I call upon Dr. Mjoli, I just want to say we could have no better in this regard than to have invited Dr. Mjoli to give us a presentation on the very interesting subject. Dr. Mjoli is a seasoned researcher, consultant, and a former academic. Before I invite and read her CV to you, I would like to wish you a happy Women's Month, but I'm inviting you to choose to change your mindset for success. Coming back to Dr. Mjoli as our guest speaker for today, Dr. Mjoli is the founder and a managing director of Hlati Development Services. which she established in 2003. She is based in Pretoria East. She has more than 37 years of research and consulting experience in the fields of microbiology, biotechnology, water and sanitation policy, strategy, and governance. Her career path includes teaching, research at the University of Cape Town, and CSIR, lecturer at Northwest University, a senior lecturer at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, research manager and director at the Water Research Commission, and managing director of her own business. Her major clients included the Department of Water and Sanitation, Water Research Commission. She has done consultancy work for international organizations such as Stockholm International Water Institute and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She has served on several global advisory bodies such as Global Water Partnership, World Bank Water and Sanitation Program, and UK World Humanity Action Trust. She is accredited Enneagram practitioner focusing on individual and team coaching. She is also an author of a book entitled Embracing Gender Diverse Leadership for Innovation in the 21st Century. She currently chairs the board of Water Research Commission. She's recently served on the boards of NTP Radioisotopes SOC Limited and Pelcam SOC Ltd, January 2016 to May 2020, and Rare Earth Refiners Pty, which is also current. Her past boards include South African National Space Agency, Mintech, and Plantobaya, now part of Technology Innovation Agency. She's the following are her qualifications: a BSc Honors, UED, University of Fort Hare, MEC and PhD in Microbiology, Notre Dame University, USA, Postdoctoral Research Fellow, University of Cape Town. She received the following awards: Fulbright Scholarship for MSc Microbiology at the University of Notre Dame, USA, the CSIR Postdoctoral Fellowship at the University of Cape Town, Affairs of Cape Town, recipient of a Woman in Water Award for SA Minister of Water Affairs and Forestry, 2003, recognition for the contribution to water sanitation policy development in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Mjoli. Bless you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much. This is from that extensive introduction. I would like to recognize the following members who are part of this webinar. Ms. Aluza, who's the chair of the council, Professor Mutose, who's the vice chancellor, Professor Siepe, the deputy vice chancellor, institutional support, Professor Novlomo, deputy vice chancellor, teaching and learning, Professor Gunane, deputy vice chancellor, research and innovation, university executives and members of management, University Senate, all staff members present in the ceremony, especially the women. I would like to wish all the women a very happy Women's Month. After this extensive introduction, I need to catch my breath a little, because at times you just do stuff. It's only when people read about it that you are also surprised that you have done so many things. The program director started with a quotation. I thought I'll follow her example, because the quotation that I'm going to share with you talks to the mindset. Albert Einstein, one of his quotations is, You cannot solve a problem using the same mindset that created the problem. So that's why my topic is the power of a changed mindset, because change is necessary to move forward. And she also mentioned that the theme for this Women's Month is choose to challenge. I think one of the problems we have, we are told facts which we accept as truth. What I'm going to talk about is there is actually no absolute truth. What you believe, the more you believe it, it becomes your truth. And then the rest of the people assume it's the truth. They don't even question the validity of it. Now, going back to the university education or education under general, what I've learned is that all of us are born with a powerful mind, which is more powerful than any man-made computer. Unfortunately, there is no school or university that focuses on teaching us how to use our minds as a tool to win the game of life. Consequently, let's say currently in South Africa we have a problem of young graduates who lack what I might call the skills to win the game of life. They end up frustrated, unable to find employment because the only thing they have is their certificates. When you ask them what can they contribute, they list the courses that they have taken, because the education system does not link the courses you take to the competencies that you're trying to develop. So that's one of the reasons you end up here. And I thought to myself, can you imagine how life would be if from day one when children went to grade 1, there was a subject on how to win the game of life, because there are universal laws that govern how life works. Unfortunately, that information has been kept away from most people. It's only people like us who are bookworms who believe that if anything is in a book, we're going to find it. And we keep digging until we find it. But an average person just learn what is presented to them and assume that's all there is to it. But when you start doing lots of research, you discover that actually these universal laws about how life works have been known for centuries. But somehow, to keep the inequalities in society, only a few people have access to that information. But thanks to the internet, anyone can get any information that you want. That's a good place for me. I wish I was born during the internet time, because whatever you want to know, you just say how to do whatever. There are millions of people trying to do the same thing. You don't have to spend hours in bookstores browsing through books, searching for information, because internet just provides all the information you want. Again, when I meet someone who says, I don't know how to do this, I'm saying, where do you come from? Don't you know there is international information about everything? So whatever you want to know, you'll find there are lots of people who are already doing it, so you don't even have to start from scratch to do it yourself. Now, I want to share with you my experience. I'm not a psychologist, but I am willing to learn anything that is important to me. I learned that after 8 years of postgraduate education, I found that my career was not matching my aspirations. I mean, when I spent so much time studying, I expected that I will just jump the tube and get into the first lane to success. But that was not happening. I refused to accept that being a black woman was an obstacle to my career advancement, because I've always believed in myself and refused to allow stereotypes to affect me. So what became apparent to me is that I have missed something in my extensive education, which is the secret to success. I figured out if this secret is in a book, I'm going to find it. So I started spending lots of time with exclusive books, browsing through books in that self-development section until I came across a most powerful book. It's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. That book gave me the answer. And the most important lesson I learned from this book was that I create my reality with my thoughts. When I first learned this, it was very difficult to accept that is it possible that anything that has happened to me, I created it, but I decided to be open-minded, start paying attention to my thoughts. And suddenly, I started seeing the links. Some things, you think about it now, and it happens suddenly. I'll give you a good example. We all work at home with our laptops and our coffee. At times when you put your coffee cycling to get to work while you drink your coffee, you might have a thought, oh my gosh, what could happen if you spill your coffee? And then you try to pick your coffee mug, suddenly the coffee spills. At least we're thinking about it, you can push your laptop fast. So those examples start to show you that actually there is a connection between the thought and what happens. So from that, then I realized, actually I'm in control of my destiny. I started now reading more, watching my thoughts, because the negative thoughts, unfortunately, our default position is negative. They just invade your mind. They're like weed in your garden, that you plant your crops, and weed you do not plant, but if you are not taking care of your crops, the weed will invade and take over. So our negative thoughts work the same way. You need to be vigilant in preventing the negative thoughts from dominating your mind. From this, I learned that I am capable of achieving anything that I set my goals to achieve. From my CV, all those serving on global structures, it was part of the process when I started believing that I can be anything I want to be. And it just happened, because I would just be nominated by people who have met me maybe once. I chatted with them, then suddenly they put my name there. So I said yes to the universe, this is what I asked for. So I kept saying yes until, obviously, there are only 24 hours in a day. I could not say yes to all opportunities, so I started sharing them with other people. But the bottom line is we have power to create our reality. Whatever problem we are currently facing, whether you have challenges with your finances, your career, your relationship, your health, the first place to look for the source of problem is your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions. To be successful, have a joyful life, positive thoughts, empowering beliefs, positive emotions must dominate. If you allow negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, and negative emotions to dominate, then you are going to have setbacks, because the universe does not discriminate. It responds to our energy. When you are in a positive framework, you emit positive energy and you attract positive experiences to your life. If you are in a negative space, you emit negative energy and negative experiences come to your life. So if you don't remember anything else that I have said, if you can just make sure you keep reminding yourself that whatever problem you have, I know most of us are so used to blaming government, politicians, white monopoly, and all the other things. We think we are just victims of circumstances. The problem is, being a victim is negative. And the more you think you are a victim, the more the universe brings evidence that you are right, you are a victim. Now I want to give you examples of how powerful the mindset works. Let's say the three things I'm talking about today that makes up your mindset is your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. Let's say you have two types of dominant mindsets, and people belong to either of those. These two are abundance mindset and scarcity mindset. How do you know which group you belong to? If when you are presented with a half a glass of water, in your mind you see a half full glass, you have an abundance mindset. What that means is you focus on what is there. If you have a scarcity mindset, you are presented the same half a glass of water, you focus on the empty, so you see a half empty glass of water, because you are always focused on what is lacking in your life. And the universe responds accordingly. The people who are always grateful for what they have, the universe gives them more things to be grateful for. The ones who are always complaining about the things they lack, the universe provides evidence and gives more evidence of lack in their lives. It's as simple as that. To give you a specific example how our life experiences also shape our mindset, let's consider an example of a child growing up in a rich family, used to having everything that they need, living in a community with other rich people. That child's experience of life is abundance, and the child is likely to become a rich adult because of the experience they have. And then on the other hand, you have a child born to a poor family, living in a poor community where everyone is always talking about how poor they are, no jobs, no money, no opportunities, life is a struggle. That child's mindset is shaped that life is a struggle. Unfortunately, the child is likely to grow up to be a poor adult unless the child is fortunate to be moved from this environment to a place where there are people who are abundant, who have an abundant mindset. Then the child can see actually there are opportunities to change one's life. But if you are only stuck with people who talk about being victims, you can only perpetuate the victimhood mentality. Now, next question is, how can you adopt an abundance mindset? You must remember that abundance mindset, you must have it before you attract evidence of abundance in your life. It's not like you must first have an affluent lifestyle and then the abundance mindset comes. Because the universe responds to your energy and what you believe. That if you believe we live in an abundant universe, then you'll get abundance as evidence. But again, as human beings, you are so socialized to focusing on things that you don't have. That's why the majority of the people are poor, because their minds all the time are focused on how poor they are, because they lack awareness that whatever you focus on increases. If you focus on your problem, think about it all the time, you just attract more problems to your life. You are not solving it. What you need to do to shift, focus on the power of God to solve your problem and have faith. I always, when I have a problem, I just say, God, I know you're bigger than this problem. Please sort it out. Thank you. And it's usually problem solved. So the challenge really is, because the Spirit does not teach these things, most people lack the awareness about how the universe works. Because if everyone knew that, actually, you just need to make a shift and focus on positive things. I'm sure when you feel like your life is a mess, you will struggle to find positive things. You forget that the fact that you're alive, you wake up today, you have a job which may not be your best, your dream job, you have a family that loves you, you have a home, look outside, there is air, which is essential for your survival, which is free. So the more, when you change your mindset, you start to see more things that you already have. But when you are focusing on what you don't have, then you get stuck in the scarcity mindset. I want to emphasize that the universe does not discriminate against anyone based on gender or race. It just responds to your energy. If your energy is negative, you attract negative life experiences. Positive energy, you attract positive life experiences. Now, let's look at how our mind actually works. One for those of us who did biology, biology just talks about the parts of your brain without talking about this sort of spiritual element, because that is the powerful part, not the gray matter that we use to think. So you have a conscious mind, which is the one that generates thoughts, solves problems, logic, and it is 100% under your control. That means if you were to pay attention, you choose your thoughts, but most of us don't pay attention. We just get thoughts from the TV, the media, the radio, our friends. Unfortunately, if those thoughts are negative, they affect the quality of your life. And then the major part of your mind is called the subconscious mind. This is the part of your mind that firstly controls all your body systems. It's like a computer that runs your body. And it also controls your, let's say, how you connect to the universe. Whether you believe in God or higher power or Buddha or the different religions, it does not really matter. This process of connecting is the same. It's through your subconscious mind. In fact, I was thinking that it's just like the virtual communication system that we're using. That the only thing that I need to do is just follow instructions, click, get to this Zoom page. What happens after I've done that is outside my control. So this is how the subconscious mind works. All your thoughts, whether they're negative or positive, the subconscious mind does not judge. It doesn't say, I would not think like that. It takes everything you say as an instruction. If your major thought is like, life is difficult, life is a perpetual struggle, subconscious mind takes this as an instruction to find evidence that life is indeed difficult. So you continue to have difficulties. But the good thing about the subconscious mind, it just works like when you remember during the days of the tape recorders, that you could record. If you do not like that anymore, you just record something new. So the subconscious mind has a memory file where you can change these messages by recording positive ones. It's not permanent. It's within your control. You just need to know how to do it. The subconscious mind, obviously, is where all the dreams are. It operates 24/7. So while you sleep, it is working. In fact, the reason prayer, let's take prayer for example. Prayer is transmitted through the subconscious mind to the universe. Again, most people say their prayers are never answered. Obviously, if your prayer is negative and you have negative emotion, it's just not going to be answered. So the equation that you need positive thoughts, positive beliefs, positive emotion works all the way. So when you say your prayer, watch the words that you use if they are not in conflict with what you want to attract. So our mind, our subconscious mind basically are programmed like computers. I want to give an example which talks to the women's mind, the problem of gender inequality in society. We all, in fact, Prof. mentioned that we only have 1 month dedicated to women. and the rest of the year to everyone else. And I have reflected that we've been celebrating this August Women's Month for more than 20 years now. And in terms of progress, it's very slow. The reason that we are not making rapid progress as we would wish is because we focus on treating the symptoms, which is the poor representation of women in leadership positions. We have not put focus on understanding the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is influence of patriarchy. Patriarchy has been very successful in programming women and men for their roles in society for centuries. The programming is like, let's say a child is born with, in the file for beliefs, in the subconscious mind, 0 beliefs, blank page. And then the mother starts to talk to the child and the beliefs about what they want them to have. Let's say if you are a boy, you will be programmed to become strong, confident, because you're going to be leader of society and head of the household. If you are a girl, the program is preparing you to be subordinate to men, helpful, caring, nurturing. That is in your memory, which has been enshrined since you were a child. So women continue to be influenced by that programming. That's why even when women vote, we are the majority of the population, by the way. I've checked the stats from national elections, provincial, local government elections, that women are always the majority of people who vote. But the people that get the political leadership positions are men. Because women at a deep level still believe that men are leaders. In fact, when you listen to radio talk shows, I've heard women that say when they apply for jobs, when they are told they are going to be reporting to a woman, they do not take the job because they just have problems reporting to women. So women, you are part of the problem. However, it's important to understand that patriarchy and gender equality cannot exist at the same time because they are in conflict. If you want to achieve sustainable gender equality in society, you need to start to destroy the pillars of patriarchy. Again, women have power to do that because we are the ones who give birth to babies, we are the ones who take care of our babies. Then this time around, if you can start talking to your boys and girls, giving them the message that they are all leaders from the day they are born, so that when they grow up, taking leadership position comes naturally to everyone. It's not the men who are going to do that because they are not the ones who nurture young babies and spend lots of time with them as they grow. So women, the ball is in your court. You have to change the way you bring up your boys and girls and prepare them for a gender equal society. I think I've already told you how powerful beliefs are because we're using this example of women that until you remove those entrenched beliefs about the low status of women in society, we continue having the gender inequality problems associated with that. And we do have the power to eliminate these limiting beliefs. How do we do that? There are 2 powerful tools I want to share with you. The first tool is affirmations. I know most people are aware of affirmations. But the affirmations, because beliefs come from external sources, when you use affirmations of what you want, you are cancelling the negative beliefs and putting the empowering ones. When you first start doing affirmations, you might feel like you are lying to yourself. Do not stop, keep going. In a month or 2, you'll start seeing things happen that are happening to you because of the new beliefs. I've just have one example because we're talking about how to be successful. The easiest one is, affirm that I'm destined for success. Repeat it every day, that I'm destined for success. You'll be surprised that a month later, surprises will come when you start getting recognition. Just because you now have in your memory file of beliefs, a new belief that you are destined for success. You're not saying, because I'm black, because I'm a woman, that's why I'm having all these problems. That is a limiting belief. If you keep saying, the reason we are at the bottom of the pile is because we are black and women, then you stay there. But when you start to reflect, one of my clients was saying, she has the affirmation I asked her to practice that I'm special, I deserve the best. She said she struggled with this because no one has ever said she's special. I said, you are telling it to yourself now that you're special, you deserve the best. Just keep telling it to yourself until it's registered in your subconscious mind. And when it's registered, suddenly wherever you go, the red carpet is run for you, because that's how the universe works. So this is the simplest thing you can do to change your life for the better. Just put new beliefs that support what you want to achieve. A second tool, which is not as simple as that, but if you have good imagination, it's called creative visualization. Creative visualization, you form mental pictures of what you want as if it's already happening, and feel all the emotions associated with it. Practice it every day until what you are visualizing become manifest in your physical space. Let's say you want a certain type of car, pay for a car. While it's good to have a picture of what you're visualizing about, see yourself drive your car. All the emotions you expect to feel when you drive your new car. You keep practicing that, in no time the new car will be on your driveway. Simple as that, because we have power to co-create with the universe. A third component of the equation for success I want to share with you is the power of emotions. Again, just to reflect positive thoughts, positive beliefs, and positive emotions. If you want to succeed in life, you must get rid of negative energy and negative emotions. Examples of positive emotions: gratitude. You start practicing being grateful for everything. That thank you becomes your word. Most of us are not so conscious of that. Just make it a habit. Say thank you to everyone who's helping you, every positive thing happening to your life. The best way to do this is keep a gratitude journal. That every day you write 5 things you're grateful for. If you can do that without fail, suddenly things happen. Because when you are grateful, the universe gives you more things to be grateful for. I want to look at the negative emotions, the ones that fear. Most of us do not even start doing things we want to do because we fear failure. But when you think about it, what's the worst thing that happened to you because you failed? I think I was happy to hear Prof. talk about failure and how women are fearful of failure. Failure is not final. It just shows you need to try a new approach. But if you stay stuck because you fear failure, then you just don't even stand the chance of getting successful, because you don't even want to leave your comfort zone, because even if people laugh, they will stop laughing and move on, and they won't be laughing when you are successful. Another one that I want to highlight is anger. And most of us are not aware that anger harms you more than the people that you are angry at. And when you listen to some people, are angry because when they were children, the parents or father abandoned them. Then you go through life angry for that. Unfortunately, that contaminates the quality of your life because anger carries a negative image. But when you think about it rationally, the father who abandoned you, if you are going to be angry and make your life miserable, you are denying yourself an opportunity to live a happy, successful life. So just get over yourself and let go. Because I'm sure the people who abandon their children, at the time, it looks like the simplest solution because of the problem they were facing. But from a mind of a child, you don't even think the challenges they were facing. Another one is blame. When you blame external factors for your problem, you attract more problems to your life. So you must just learn to take responsibility that any negative thing happening to you, you have attracted it with your thoughts, your beliefs and emotions. What you need to fix is yourself. So in conclusion, I hope I've convinced you that every human being has power to gain 100% of their control of their lives by focusing on positive thoughts, adopting empowering beliefs, and maintaining a positive emotional state. And you must always remember that you create your reality with your thoughts, and whatever you believe, you become. If you keep saying when you make a mistake that you're stupid, the universe is listening, making sure that it brings evidence that you think you're stupid. And if you be careful how you talk to your children. What I have learned from this research is children remember all the negative messages from the parents. If a parent says the child is, let's say children think parents have all the answers. Actually, the child is not pretty. The child will grow up believing that they are not pretty, irrespective of what everyone else tells them, because they think the mother who gave birth to me think I'm an ugly child. What else is there out there? And the child grows up with low self-esteem and the life, obviously, unsuccessful life. Another example I want to give, with parents again, children, you have children that are smarter than others. That if a parent is saying a child is not smart, the child again will not achieve because they believe the parent knows them better. And their expectation of life is like they are not smart, therefore there's not much going for them. So as parents, we need to give positive messages to our children and not be the ones that are responsible for destroying their future by the negative messages that you communicate. This now brings me to the end of my talk. I think I'm willing to take questions of clarity and everything. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gents, I'm not going to say do the word of thanks because that is the privilege of another person, but wow. That is all that I can say. Wow, in terms of this message today about change. We started off to say what is the theme, and the theme is choose to challenge. And now we know through change of your mindset. And yes, what a powerful, powerful message. Thank you very much. I would like to invite anyone that has a question or some comments or reflection. If you, the audience, if there's anyone that want to put up their hands, we have a person on standby that can help us to open you to put your question to the keynote speaker, to Dr. Majoli.
The first question is from Sule.
There is also some questions from students, is that? Okay, I can't see. All right. Is there any question? This is Women's Day, and we are celebrating, and we only have this privilege once in terms of anyone that wants to have a question. All right, Dr. Vesi Manikaba. Is it Dr. not Dr. Vesi Manikaba? I'm sorry, I can't see. All right, there's a person that put up the hand and the person is open. Please go ahead. Sorry, the system is a little bit strange and I haven't signed on my computer, so I can't see.
From the engineering department at Regensburg campus. Thank you so much, Dr. Jolie, for such an inspiring talk. It's been quite something to be reminded of the power we have within us and how that is actually going to assist us in choosing to challenge. Because if we do follow what the steps you've given us, I'm actually sure that that will become much more easier for us as we go. And also your comments on the way we see ourselves is the way the universe treats us. I hope all of us have had this, and we should just go ahead and listen to the lady. She's spoken so well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is there a further person? Someone else? Just write it down so that I can see. So we're getting one or two people ready. So Dr. B. Linda, you are the next. Please ask your question or make your comment. Dr. Linda? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jolie, for such an insightful presentation. I just want to capitalize on your emphasis on women as birth of the people for the nation. When you're talking about universe as something that responds to us, this immediately tells me that the universe itself is a living organism, and I can quickly see that if we women, who are people that bring many people as offsprings to this world, we can take that into consideration. We can actually do more than what we think. And I also want to say, what you have shared with us, we actually need to take it to class. We might have missed it in our backgrounds, in the families, but now that we know, we need to take it to class, because there are many female learners that are still doubtful, they are struggling with a lot of things. So this kind of affirmation and creative visualization and believing that every human brain is capable, so that we can erase the things that has already been engraved into their minds. So I'm trying to say that as a teacher who is interactive with students, I am going to extend it to my learners as well. It's been really a good and insightful presentation. I don't want to recap on everything, but it was just amazing. And I see a potential in taking it forward, not only to our family backgrounds, but to our teaching and learning interaction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Linda. Again, choose to change, and I can see the positive thinking and feeling. Dr. Majoli, do you want to respond or to add anything? Whilst we see if there's another question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I do want to respond. I think for me, if the school system could, from grade naught, maybe start teaching the learners that all of us have the power to be masters of our destiny. Because that's a missing link the education system currently has. And another thing that I want to highlight is, again, through my research, I've realized that when you look at how government has been promoting gender equality by empowering women without paying attention to men, we must remember that the men still have those entrenched beliefs about their position in society as leaders. And then you empower women to be leaders and you neglect the men. That's why men sabotage women, because in terms of what they have been told for centuries is that as a man, they are natural leaders, they are heads of households. That's why you have conflict in families, because these empowered women and the men who still maintain their patriarchal beliefs have this tension. So that's why it's important that you not only focus on your girls, you focus on both boys and girls, that this is how the universe works, that we're all born equal. The inequalities are just a product of social programming.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Majuli. Is there any further questions, any further comments? Can I read the comment? There's a comment. Thank you very much for the informative discussion. So true. We often forget to go back to the basics, which starts with ourselves and our mindsets. Thank you. It comes from the Zal, I think, Alfina. Thank you very much. Dr. Majuli, I think there is so much to think about, that the women, people that listen to you, the whole audience are still reflecting and still thinking. And there is a lot to think and reflect, and deliberate decisions that we have to make in terms of our mindset and positive and negative feelings. So what we want to do now is to just celebrate before we go to the vote of thanks and closing remarks. We always, as Africans, we celebrate with music. And this is what we want to do. We want to celebrate your contribution to this Women's Day with some music before we come and finally say thank you and some closing remarks. Thank you.
It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. It turns problems into gifts, failures into successes, the unexpected into perfect timing, and mistakes important events. It can turn an existence into a real life, and disconnected situations into important and beneficial lessons. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace to today, and creates a vision for tomorrow.
As we are celebrating Women's Month, there are many things to be grateful for. I'm grateful for the gift of life.
Last year I went to New York and I will never forget that.
As we are celebrating Women's Month, there are many things to be grateful for. I'm grateful for the gift of life.
Last year I went to New York and I will
I'm
never
so grateful to
forget
God
that.
Almighty for protecting me and my family. from this COVID-19 pandemic. Truly, it has not been easy. As my husband was infected, I have to be strong for him and my 4 kids. It takes a brave and courageous woman to take care of her family as well as her wife at the same time and to pray to God to help me. It has been a year and a half since this pandemic hit the world, and several people lost their lives
and my 4.
also their jobs.
It takes a brave
I'm
and
grateful
courageous
by
woman
God's
to
grace
take
I'm
care
still
of
breathing
her
and
family
working.
as
I'm
well
grateful
as her
for
work at the same time.
be alive
I
and
had to
healthy.
pray to God to help me. It has been a year and a half since this pandemic hit the world, and several people lost their lives, also their jobs. I'm grateful. By God's grace, I'm still breathing and working.
I'm grateful for the gift of life, to be alive and
I'm
healthy
grateful
during
for
these
life.
trying times.
I'm
I'm
grateful
also
that
grateful
I'm
for my
alive at this point in time,
friends, my colleagues,
especially
and
as
family,
COVID
especially
is
my parents,
ravaging the
who
world.
have brought me
So
up with so much love
I'm
and
also
respect,
grateful for the
and
fact
also
that
to
I'm
pass
doing
that on
my
to
job.
other people
There
and
are
the
many
love of
people
God.
who've lost their jobs.
I'm grateful for
who
my
are no
job
longer getting
and
the
also that I
income,
still have
but I'm one of
opportunities to
those
grow
who are
in all
still
aspects
earning
of my
income.
life.
I'm grateful for life.
I'm grateful that I'm alive at this point in time, especially as COVID is ravaging the world. So I'm grateful. I'm also grateful for the fact that I do have a job. There are many people who've lost their jobs, who are no longer getting the income, but I'm one of those who are still earning an income. I'm very grateful for that. I'm also grateful for the fact that I'm working in this institution, the University of Zululand, which provides us with opportunities to explore the world. For instance, last year I went to New York, and I will never forget that. I'm also grateful for the opportunity that have been offered in my faculty to be an acting HOD in the Department of Arts and Languages. I'm also grateful for the fact that I graduated with my I did it for a very long time, but now it's in the bag. As a woman, I'm grateful that I'm serving the faculty under the leadership of a woman. You know that our dean and deputy dean teaching women are both women, and most of the ESCO members are women. I'm also grateful for the fact that our institution is being led by a woman, Professor Mdose.
Ngihalalisela bonke abantu besifazane
Nasebenza engadini ePTA.
halala bhodlela halala
Selokhu ngaphandle komsebenzi ngiyakwazi ukuphila nomndeni. Ngiyacela ukuthi ngiqhubeke ngiphile noma.
Thank you very much for a beautiful poem and music. I would like to call Professor Mashia. She's a director in the Office of the Vice Chancellor. Just in terms of a few closing remarks, a vote of thanks to our wonderful guest speaker. Thank you so much, Professor.
Chair of Council, Vice Chancellor, DVCs, executives of the university, the management, academic and administrative staff, all women and men present, I greet you all. Vice Chancellor, thank you for making a point that women are celebrated every year. In your opening speech, you touched on a very important issue here, asking why women are only celebrated in August. I think I share the same sentiment with you. Women should not only be celebrated in August, not in every month, but every day because of the work they do. So thank you again. What stood out for me is the word of encouragement that you shared with us. You talked about failure and response. You said it's not bad to fail, but what is bad is the way you respond to it. And I noticed that our keynote speaker also emphasized that. So I think it's a very good message for our women as well, young women in particular. To the keynote speaker, Dr. Mjoli, what a powerful message. Thank you for sharing with us your expertise unselfishly. We have listened, we have reflected on what you were saying, and we have identified gaps, and we are going to work on those gaps as identified. What we are taking home from from what we have said is the advice. You said we must use all the platforms available to empower ourselves. I hope we are going to learn from this, and our young women who are part of this ceremony have taken note of what you said. You spoke a lot about thought. I was struck by the statement you made. You said, use your thought to create reality, because reality is actually conceived through thought. So for me, that was very important. So I want to thank you for your invaluable contribution, and to promise you that we have learned a lot from this message. Professor Hreiling, for driving this event, you have done very well. And in your opening remarks, you talked about freedom and the emancipation of women. And I asked myself if we have really achieved freedom. So this is the work we need to focus on in order to see our women being emancipated. It's the assignment for us as a nation and as for us as global communities as well, to see our women being emancipated. We are really touched to see women underrated as they are right now, which means that we have not yet achieved the freedom we are talking about. So to all women who are present today, we want to thank you for honoring this invitation. Special thanks to all the men who have taken part to be with us today. To the organizers of the ceremony, we want to thank you for making this event possible. And I want to thank everyone who made this day a success. Happy Women's Day. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gents, we have come to the end of the program. And normally what we do at the University of Zululand is that we celebrate with women, and it's normal, a beautiful function, and at least we could all sit together. And since we've done it virtually today, and everyone was in office celebrating with their own coffee and their own cup, etc., but I'm the carrier of good news, where the director of the CMD told me just now, please invite the women to come in their own time, working from home, working from office in shifts, and come around to the CMD office and get a small token of the university, or a week later or so to get a small token of appreciation for your input. So with that, we would like to thank the university, we'd like to thank the speakers, and have a very good further 11 months of Women's Day. Thank you very much. Thank you. I just want to say these gifts are not gifts from deans or from anyone. These gifts come through the courtesy of our Vice-Chancellor. Vice-Chancellor, we thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
As we are celebrating Women's Month, there are many things to be grateful for.
I'm grateful for the gift of life.
Last year I went to New York and I will never forget that.
Ngiqashwe e-University ngo-1992. Ngiyabonga ukuthi selokhu ngaqashwa e-Varsity ngiyakwazi ukuphila nomndeni wami.
I'm so grateful to God Almighty for protecting me and my family from this COVID-19 pandemic. Truly, it has not been easy. As my husband was infected, I have to be strong for him and my 4 kids. It takes a brave and courageous woman to take care of her family as well as her work at the same time. I had to pray to God to help me. It has been a year and a half since this pandemic hit the world, and several people lost their lives, also their jobs. I'm grateful, by God's grace, I'm still breathing and working.
I'm grateful for the gift of life, to be alive and healthy during these trying times. I'm also grateful for my loved ones, my friends, my colleagues, and family, especially my parents who have brought me up with so much love and respect, and also to pass that on to other people and the love of God. I'm grateful for my job and also that I still have opportunities to grow in all aspects of my life.
I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful that I'm alive at this point in time, especially as COVID is ravaging the world. So I'm grateful. I'm also grateful for the fact that I do have a job. There are many people who've lost their jobs, who are no longer getting the income, but I'm one of those who are still earning an income. I'm very grateful for that. I'm also grateful for the fact that I'm working in this